Greetings everyone, my name is Etterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Mega Man Rock Force. Where I last left off, I defeated Shock Man with Nitro Man, and thus rescued Elec Man. So now it's time to take Elec Man out and face Fuse Man. And Elec Man overall is my third favorite Rock Force member to play as. The main reason is because of, shown here, because of his Thunder Beams. Elec Man's Thunder Beams covers a huge area relative to the other attacks of all the other Rock Force members. And because of that, it can multi-hit targets and quickly dispatch of most enemies. I mean, look at these spider creators of the spider bombs. I can easily take care of them in just 2 shots. And with careful positioning, you can actually hit a lot of targets at once. Plus, there's also the fact, as shown here, I can actually wall jump. It's similar to Cutman's wall jump, but because Elec Man doesn't jump as far or bounce far when he bounces off the wall, you can rapidly jump up the walls, as shown here, which you couldn't do as Cutman. So that's very useful. Though it's not like Mega Man X's wall jumping abilities, as in once you go against the wall, you will not slowly descend. You will fall over at the same rate. But this is great for skipping a lot of hazards, or certain hazards, that is. Of course, the problem with the Elec Beam, Thunder Beam passing through enemies like this is that you can also unwarrantedly set off these minecarts or other objects in advance. This resulted in 3 deaths in my earlier run where I accidentally set off the second minecart before I could reach it. Another good advantage of playing as Elec Man is that his default speed is the highest of any Rock Force member. And his jumping ability is one of the best as well, next to, I think, Tornado Man's, or the same. But one of the main cons is that his Thunder Beam will only fire once per screen. So if there are a lot of enemies and you miss, it's really damaging to his ability and you can really get hurt. But because they can fire up, you can hit enemies like this much more simply, whereas if I was playing as Mega Man, I would have to use a careful use of the Phantom Fuse or Pulse Stopper. And the wall jump is only for platforming and not for combat, unfortunately. So, overall, he's a pretty good and high damaging character, but against enemies you can't kill in 1 or 2 hits, it's much more challenging to play as, so always be on your guard. Thankfully though, I don't think Elec Man takes more damage than the other Rock Force members. At least that's what I believe. Which is unlike what happened when Super Danny powered up, where he took more damage. That's nice. And here's the boss fight against Fuse Man. About the same as it was before. Though because of the higher hitbox, it's much easier to just kill him. And because I got hit in midair, Elec Man ends with a very odd sprite. Kinda strange. But overall, Elec Man is my 3rd favorite character to play as, and if you want some easier times of going through the stages, I suggest him. Though be careful of when his Thunder Beam passes through objects, especially when you have triggerable items like those minecarts, as you can really screw yourself over and get killed, especially on hard mode. Alright, with that out of the way, we rescued Bomb Man. And because Bomb Man's strong against Photon Man, it's time to go after him. And boy, I love playing as Bomb Man. He's my favorite Rock Force member to play as. The main reason is because of the very large amount of coverage his bombs do upon impact. It's almost as large, I would say. It's a little bit larger than Elec Man's Elec Beams, though not as much coverage. Like shown here, I can just blow up all these flowers in just 1 hit and not get worried about their tops hitting me. And I just destroyed that green stomper in just 1 hit. That's pretty amazing. There are only a few other attacks that can do it, like the Phantom Fuse, and I think the Circuit Breaker. And because of this, he can hit multiple enemies at once, and I believe he's the only character who can open those green destroyable walls. And also, when he slides, he'll drop his current bomb, which can be used for creatively positioning it. And he can throw his bombs up as well. And because of this, I can more creatively position my bombs in order to hit these flowers and the sun spikes, which, like in Circus Man stage, have been made much more predictable and much less of a hassle to take care of. As before, the sun spikes came randomly on different parts of the screen, but now they come in a counterclockwise pattern, starting from up, then left, then down, then right, then back to up again. Now, one of the disadvantages of playing as Bomb Man is that he can only fire one bomb at a time before it explodes, similar to Elec Man's Elec beams. Plus, he doesn't really have that much coverage other than the explosive radius. And because of how his tossing arc works, it can be a little bit problematic to hit these enemies. Like, for example, these Mets. Because of how the Mets have a time where they're completely invulnerable, if you can't position or time your attacks well, you'll take some damage. And he can't really throw bombs on ladders, as demonstrated before, so if you're on a ladder and you just drop your bomb, you're completely defenseless, basically, until you fall off and throw the bomb again, or something else. Plus, he's kind of one of the slower characters to play as, similar to Nightman, and compared with his higher jumping arc, it can be quite of a hazard if you are going through an area which has a low ceiling but a longer distance to cover. However, some other fun things you can do is that, because he has infinite usage of all these bombs, if you're next to a wall, you can rapidly just throw these bombs as a shield of sorts. And also, if you're holding a bomb and take damage, you'll immediately drop your bomb, which means you can basically kill off most of the minor or medium level enemies in one hit if you get hit. So it's like an emergency safety net or something. Because I can't release these bombs, or throw these bombs on a ladder, I have to carefully position these sun spikes so I don't get hit. But yeah, quite a fun character to play as, especially if you can spam the bombs rapidly so you'll have a sort of explosion shield. Only works for minor and medium level held enemies though. And of course, the other issue is that when he throws his bombs, the height of the throw, or the height of the arc of the throw, is actually lower than how far Bomb Man can jump up. So you kind of have to jump and throw the bomb at the same time in order to be useful. This can also be a problem in this segment with all these bomb spiders coming down and you having to position yourself in order to destroy them, while collecting all these solar power droplets, or whatever they are. I could have gotten that extra life, but I decided to just rush this area to avoid having to take care of it again. And yeah, that was so lucky there. But yeah, because of all the explosive radius and high damage Bomb Man has, and how much he can spam it, unlike Elec Man, he's my favorite member of the Rock Force to play as, though not recommended for all the areas, especially for a certain stage later. And because of the amount of spam Bomb Man can use on his weapon, it makes taking care of Photon Man pretty much a pushover. I mean, because I was able to spam all the explosions, he had no chance, and there was no time where he wasn't taking damage, basically. It did take 2 tries in order to perfect run this, or not do any damage, mainly because of Photon Man acting a little bit unpredictably. But overall, I strongly suggest playing as Bomb Man if you want a lot of explosive damage, though I don't suggest playing as him if you have a lot of precision platforming, or you have a lot of minor enemies that you need to hit simultaneously and they're far apart. Or Portman stage, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Alrighty then, we rescued Fireman, and so it's time to go after the last Robot Master, Virus Man. Fireman is my second most favorite member of the Rock Force to play as. In fact, in stages such as the aforementioned Portman stage, he's my favorite character to play as. Fireman's main forte is coverage. His fire wave, he can fire 3 fire waves at once. It doesn't really act like the one in Mega Man 1, and it can pierce through minor enemies like this. For example, that means I can just hit these jumping viruses as well as all these bacteriophages or something, and not worry about getting infected. And also, he can jump in midair as well. That was a kind of snazzy move. As shown here, Fireman can fire 2 fire waves at max at the bottom, allowing for a triple jump at most. Moreover, he can actually fire upwards as well, 3 shots at max. In essence, Fireman has a shot limit about the same as Mega Man in all directions except for downwards. But his Fire Wave can't pierce shields, unfortunately. Funny enough though, you can actually use the downward Fire Wave in order to damage enemies like the Sniper Joe, as shown here, or those fishes over there. So that's pretty nice as well. I should have used that, I should have exploited that more often, as it's a great speedrunning tool. And it also somewhat, his Fire Wave somewhat acts like the Elec Beam, as it can multi-hit enemies, as shown here. It also makes taking care of these virus outbreak generators much simpler. Though getting infected by the virus outbreak as Fireman allows for a very interesting or cool looking sprite sheet here, with the green flames and green fireballs. Pretty nice. And it makes this platforming segment a little bit less hectic, as I can just jump over several of these pits. Unfortunately, because of how on hard mode the Yoku blocks release all these pellets upon disappearing, it's not as useful as it would be on, for example, medium difficulty or normal difficulty. Still, you can save yourself in a pinch, if necessary. Though I would have preferred Dive Man for this segment, mainly because of his temporary vulnerability upon using the dive attack. Now, his other weakness, other than the fact he can't really pierce shields, unlike several other Robot Masters, or get past the shields, we won't be able to see it now, but if Fireman goes underwater, similar to what happens in Mega Man Powered Up, his flame gets extinguished, and a lot of his versatility goes down the toilet, basically. In essence, he loses his ability to fire all the fire waves, and is replaced by a stream of bubbles. It's a fair defense, certainly better than certain other Robot Masters' defenses, but it's not really effective in taking out long-range enemies. He becomes more of a short-range fighter, short to medium range. And this segment is one of my most favorite for using the Fire Wave, because it can go through all these virus outbreak generators and all these virus canisters. It makes taking care of these so much simpler, as before as a Mega Man or another character, it would be so hazardous and so hectic to take care of these. And having the Fire Wave being able to be shot downwards means that if you fall nearly into that spike pit, you can save yourself. I can't tell you how many times I died during this last segment because of hitting the wall. And also it makes the fight against Virus Man even less of an issue. Mainly because I can destroy those fish at the bottom, or, as shown here, I can just spam my Fire Wave and just kill him. And I can jump over that attack where he separates his top and bottom. But what wasn't shown here is that when he releases his virus outbreak, you can actually very easily just carve right through it with the Fire Wave, just like the previous ones. So yeah, Fireman pretty much destroys Virus Man's stage, and is thus my second favorite Robot Master, or Rock Force member to play as, by far. In fact, I would suggest him for most newcomers as the first Rock Force member to play as the most. But anyways, now that we defeat Virus Man, we come full circle and rescue Dive Man. I already showed off Dive Man in the first part of this playthrough of the Rock Force members against Crypt Man, so won't be showing that off again. Now, time for something a little bit different. The same segment about the Fusion Robot Masters recombining Robot Masters come up again, but something a little bit different. Because I defeated a non-cardinal Robot Master at last, aka Virus Man, I unlocked 4 new Fusion Robot Masters, who are War Man, Drill Man, Thermal Man, and Port Man. It's pretty nice that GoldwaterDLS added these 4 new Fusion Robot Masters. Really adds to their replayability. Although in some regards, these are more focused on puzzles, but I'll get into that in the next part. Anyways, thanks for watching, viewers, and have a nice day. Doodles!